Good morning and welcome to another English interactive writing live stream. I hope you'll enjoy it. And as always, I will begin by giving some simple explanations for beginners and everyone who has turned this on for the very first time. First of all, if you're not on YouTube, you probably can't see this. And I pity you for it. But you'll never know. If you are on YouTube, below this video you will find a helpful little description that includes a link to a Discord server where we can get all that sweet interaction that you're here for. If you prefer to get your sweet interaction in other ways, like for example via telefax or email, you can do that. You can feel free to contact me in any way. I'm on Blue Sky, for example. You can find me in my blog, fabianelfeld.com, and you can comment under the YouTube video. You cannot do this while the live stream is still playing, because YouTube doesn't allow that. But if you want to comment, I would love to read your thoughts. And I'm very interested in your experiences. So maybe you had a bad day. Maybe there's someone you don't like. Maybe there's something you want to talk about. Use the YouTube comments for that, because I really need that interaction. I might even reply. I don't know yet if that counts towards my interaction. But I will check, and if it's helpful to my channel, I will reply to your comments. Even if it's just to encourage you to interact further. Because I'm quite sure that will help my channel. Or does only one, is it only you comment on a video or you don't? Does it matter if you write another 100 comments after that? I want you to find that out, and if it does, then I want you to do it. I would also like you to like and subscribe to everything that is even slightly related to me. And I would also be very grateful if you bought all my books, which are currently, I think, for practical purposes, especially if your language is English, which might be indicated by your participation in this live stream, 0. So that should be easy. And I think that might be most of it. Within the links below this video, you will also find a document on OneDrive that is the whole story, because we will not be going through this in every single live stream. Yes, and I know OneDrive, Microsoft, I don't like it either, but I'll be honest, I haven't done my research yet, and I'm not sure if, for example, Dropbox is much better, and I want something that's accessible to everyone, and I know that is not OneDrive, but what is? I'm open to suggestions. And so far, I need Office for work anyway, so it's not like I'm giving them extra money. And yes, I am checking if I actually do need them for work, but so far I do. Yeah, I think that was only 4 minutes. That felt much longer, didn't it? I think we're done. We can just start with our story. Epiphany in the chat is asking me to enlarge the video box. By that, I assume you mean mine? So not the whole video I can't enlarge. I think that is as large as you make it on your own screen. But I assume you mean me. And yes, I can make my box a little bit larger, I think. Let's see, maybe like this, and maybe here. Maybe like this. But I don't want to distract you from the text, because that is what everyone is here for, right? So yeah, we were just finishing up one conversation, and we will now recapitulate what happened. But first, let me take a sip of water. That's good. You know, people are always on about how this is the most precious thing on this earth. But I have done some research, and I can tell you it is quite cheap. So I want to encourage you to drink a lot of it. Show them. What a nice day to hydrate, am I right? Am I right? Fellow pun enjoyers? Where, where have we recently seen Hide the Pain Harold in a very funny way? It was very funny, yeah. It was in some game, right? Well,
in the evil hard difficult game?
it might. I don't think so, but it might. Who knows? Well, whatever. Yeah. But we wanted to talk about the text, so let's do that. It's still only 10:07. I'm doing so much to waste time, and it's absolutely not working. What am I doing wrong? This usually works better. In the other live streams at this time, it's mostly 20 minutes or 30 minutes past the starting time. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe it's the language, but I'm not sure. So let's go ahead and dive into our story. And as I said, I won't recapitulate the whole plot because that would take up too much time, which is what I want apparently. So I won't recapitulate the whole story. And I will just tell you what happened recently, and then we're reading the last few paragraphs just to get back into it. So Sam and Munira interviewed Gudmund in a virtual meeting room, let's say. That was definitely not provided by Microsoft. And now they're back in our shared reality, and apparently they have proven annoying to the facility manager, and we'll see how that plays out. Maybe we'll just end the chapter there. We'll see. Let's see. How long is this scene already? I think this is just continued from. Right, that's just continued from the scene before. Obviously, this is a conversation between Sam and Munira, and Gudmund does not participate so far because he seems frozen. And the last few paragraphs we had was. Oh, I like this. I'm gonna go back to this because we have big letters. So 3 pages is nothing, and I love this joke. So let's go with that. So, when am I going to be able to do stuff like this? She asked. Sam made a vague rotation gesture with an index finger close to their right ear. Conservative estimate, maybe 300 years, give or take a few? Munira stared at them. What? Sam guffawed. Did you think you could learn bending the fundamental structures of time and space in the same time frame you learned to make an ashtray on a pottery wheel? Can you do that? She asked. I think I just demonstrated. No, I mean pottery. Can you use a pottery wheel like the people on TikTok? Sam frowned slightly and looked down at the conference table. Well, maybe not like the big accounts, they admitted. But I know my way around. I have made the odd jug and plate in my time, and I do think I could find ways. The sly smile was stealing its way back into their mien. To make it look like those videos if I wanted to. I have no doubt about that, Munira said. But are you going to start teaching me soon? You are going to start teaching me soon, aren't you? I have already, Sam exclaimed, and she couldn't tell if they sounded mock offended or just offended. Trust the process, that's what people say nowadays, right? I have heard of that, but I'm not sure I do. That's the spirit, Sam said, held up both hands and clapped, and like that, Munira dropped unceremoniously onto her butt when the chair beneath her vanished, and she found herself in a rather small beige room with a nursing bed, fake wooden floor, and incongruous furniture like a big dark wooden bookshelf and a chic and expensive dining table. Here we have a little note reminding us to find a good simile or something to explain how it doesn't fit the rest of the room and stands out like a sore thumb, but that's not what we're going to say. We're going to say something really cool. I'm quite sure. Gudmund was standing beside Sad Table, talking to Lara Kachmirsch, or at least they had been talking until suddenly Munira had dropped in with Sam, who, of course, stood beside her completely upright and very dignified. "God damn it!" she exclaimed, and found she wasn't even seriously angry. "You couldn't have warned me or something." "You didn't like the slow transition, so I did the quick one. There's just no pleasing you, is there?" "I'm so going to pay you back in 300 years or whenever," she grumbled. "What the hell is going on here?" Lara Kachmiesh breathed, staring at them, eyes wide, mouth a narrow line. So I'll assume you remember our main characters, but again, to everyone who doesn't remember, Lara Kachmiesh is I think she was the manager, right? Apparently, I'm one of the people who don't remember. Was she nursing service head? So that's her, right? I got them mixed up. Good thing I looked it up. So Lara Kachmiesh is the nursing service head, and while we're at it, we can check how she looks. Here we go. Elevators dinged in a light pink nurse's uniform, wearing their hair in mahogany in a mahogany long bob. What would you say, right? That's how you would say it. And what is that even? I don't even know what that is. How did I write that? Is that what it's called? Okay. And smiling distractedly while looking around, obviously looking for the mayor they were led to expect. Maybe let's say searching so we don't repeat the looking. And I think that's all we said about her, right? I think that's fine. All right. So I think we're going to have a poll now, because I am not actually sure we need to continue this scene. Because I think we could. We could. It's not like I'm sure we shouldn't, but I'm not sure. I don't immediately see the narrative value of explaining. Thank you, Epiphany. Yeah, I'll correct that back. What was I going to say? Right. I'm not sure I immediately see great narrative value in having Sam and Munira interact with Lara now and explain what happened or not explain what happened. Maybe we want to move on. But I'm not sure. We could do something nice with this. We would have to think what. So I'm going to make a poll and leave it up to you what we do. Hashtag poll. New line. Should we? I could do a yes or no question with this, but it feels more. It feels better conversation. Sorry, it feels like better communication to make it into an alternative question. So it's absolutely key, because yes or no questions seem straightforward, but they can be quite confusing. Should we cut here and move on to the next scene, or stay and have them interact with Lara? Question mark. And I need an emoji for that, so you can click on something. Let's take this one, why not? Here we go. And I will now proceed to provide you with the emoji to click on. Here's one. Oh, sorry. Here's the other one. And here's a shrug for all those who refuse to take a stand and think they can remain neutral in these times of rising political problems. Ah, yeah, here we go. Nice. So let's see. I'm going to. There we go. I'll correct the bob while I'm waiting for maybe a tie break, but I'm not sure it's going to happen.
Where it's gonna come from?
Where is it? It was somewhere here. It was somewhere around here, wasn't it? if you think that's it, then that's it. All right, so we're gonna have to make a decision here. What had we actually decided until now? This might take a few minutes now. That's what you get by not voting the way you are supposed to. I'm gonna scroll up and see. And also, I'm also gonna scroll up through the chat to see if we already made a decision about how to proceed that influences this now. Yeah, that's true. Here, yeah. We had a few decisions. One of them is 3. Sam's perspective, and then we decided that Lara Kaczmierz and Goodman should participate. So we will stay then. That's all right. But what's going to happen in it? In the scene now? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Here's something. We did that. All right, we're done with everything we have decided to do. So now we need to figure out what to do with Lara. Well, let's see. Our characters could have a conversation about how to proceed from here and what to do. Lara Kaczmierz as head of nursing might be a nice partner for this conversation because she will be better informed and very much closer to the actual work a nursing facility does. For everyone who's not so much aware, in Germany, I think they are required by law to have this position. And, well, basically, I know, I just don't know what the exact requirement is. But that leads to most of those facilities having one person who's the manager in a traditional sense. They manage the money and they will make the decisions, kind of like a CEO or something. And then they have the head of nursing who's responsible for the quality of the actual nursing. Yeah, you probably would have guessed that without my explanation. I just thought I'd make it a bit more clear. And there, my knowledge is also very, very close to its end. I'm not exactly sure what the law says about their relative position in hierarchy. I think there can be, of course, a form of subordination, because of course the manager has some final decisions in some areas, but I think that about nursing, the head of nursing is an authority unto themselves. And that might not matter in this scene. I just thought I might explain the different roles to everyone who's not familiar with them. I have no idea how that works in English-speaking countries. It might be exactly the same, it might be completely different. I would be surprised if they didn't have someone who's responsible for the quality of the actual service, because that just makes sense, but I'm not sure if it's organized in quite the same way. So talking about the situation of the people living there and all that, with Lara Kaczmierz makes perfect sense. She might at some points have to or want to just go back to the not even implausible position of saying, yeah, we would love to do all that, but that goddamn administration just won't give us the money. And from there on, we might be able, and we probably should make up our minds about that. And we have talked about it, and we have, I think, a tendency, but we don't have clear policy decisions yet. Sooner or later, I think Munira and Sam need to realize how to go on about this. Epiphany says, I wish I knew more about the Australian system, but I don't, sorry. Oh, that's fine. I just happen to know about the German one because my work is aligned with that. So I want to talk about strategy a little bit, to know what is our goal with the scene. We know the first Magi are here to make a better world. And they are starting by establishing small examples of using their power against the powers that rule the world now in favor of those suffering from it. This is what we established quite clearly in the beginning when Sam stepped in and prevented a deportation and adopted Munira while they were at it. I know. Apprenticed her. Let's say apprenticed her. That sounds less creepy. Does it? Though. A bit. Slightly, right? And they tried to do that here. And I think in a way that should feel more sophisticated and less obvious than you would expect, find out that they can't do the same thing here. But on the other hand, I don't want to make it seem like there is absolutely no problem of an imbalance of power between nurses and inhabitants of these facilities, because there absolutely is. So we might try to get to a point where Sam does indeed empower the people living in this facility, but also recognizes that indeed the system needs to provide more resources. Because, and I know this is obvious, I'm thinking aloud to sort of lay the ground for a decision here, and this is just as much for my own sake as to explain anything to you. In the first situation, it was, of course, very easy, because people who are rounded up by the police to be deported, they just want to be primarily, that's not the only thing they need, in that way there are similarities, but primarily they probably just want to be left alone. They want the police to go away, they don't want to be rounded up. Whereas people in a nursing care facility, some of them might also want to just be left alone. Some of them might be right about that. Some might not be quite aware what they need, what's best for them. But the fact remains that many of them also, or maybe even primarily, need help from the nurses. And that's the difficult part, because it's not just an issue of nurses leave the people alone. That's absolutely not it. That's not where we want to go with this. So we need to make this a little bit more complicated, and Sam is not going to like that. But that's what our story is about. So now we need to figure out how exactly our story is about that. And we have already started on that path, obviously, with the interview with Gudmund, who is in some ways both a good and a bad example, because Gudmund is, I think, a rather fair and balanced voice about the situation in that facility. He wasn't unfair. He wasn't lying. He wasn't, or at least we didn't portray it in that way, and I think I would stick with that. He wasn't particularly, what's the word I'm looking for, disproportionately angry about anything. He was just talking about a few things that could be better, and we should probably go back and look at that. Sorry, this might not be the most productive session we've had, but I promise we are going to type something at some point. And then we need to take that up with Lara Kaczmierz, and we need to address the problems that can be improved, solved, addressed by the nursing staff and Lara. But we also need to clearly come to the realization that Sam and Munira need to go to someone more important, and that sorry, in the end is of course what the Magi are going to do anyway. We even had at some point, I'm not sure if it was a poll, but I think it was, considering where they will go next, and if that will be health insurance or some sort of politician, government official, or something like that. And that's also another purpose of how the Magi start their project, because they, even if they're not quite clear about it, they realize that they are not well informed about the details of human society administration. So they want to look at that before they go to Friedrich Merz or Olaf Scholz, whoever is in power at the time our story is happening. Maybe it's even Angela Merkel. I hear books about her are quite popular right now. So we could use that for marketing. Then again, I've seriously seen, and this is not going to appear very funny to Epiphany, I'm afraid, because she's not as familiar with German politics. I've recently seen a book about Olaf Scholz solving crime, I think.
No, really?
Yeah, I think there was an ad in I think I passed a bookstore or something, and there was a book about Olaf Scholz. I'm going to just a quick look. Let me have a quick look if I remember correctly and if that exists. Wait.
Yep, it exists.
Very good. So my memory does not deceive me. Yeah, here we go. That's Olaf ermittelt. Right. Which in English would translate to, what would it even translate to? There's no good English word for that, right? Yeah, right. Olaf investigates. That's it. Yeah, right. Thank you. Olaf investigates the Chancellor crime story or something like that, which is not a story about Chancellor crime, but a crime story where a Chancellor is the detective, apparently.
In the case of
yeah, but Olaf doesn't quite remember all that, you know?
This would be very
Olaf has very much, it's so long ago, you know. Olaf would very much prefer to talk about the crime that happened right now, okay?
In the funny book.
No. Olaf needs to investigate this other thing right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Olaf can investigate cum-ex later. There's certainly no time limit on investigations about that tax thing. Don't worry about it. Olaf doesn't even quite remember that tax thing. There was something about taxes, but isn't there always? All right, so then what I was going to say is, don't worry, I'm not going to put them on the title. I'm not even sure. I might be allowed to do that, right? Because they are public figures. The book would probably have to be in some way actually about them, but I might be able to use them. I don't think that's illegal. You know, I just make a big picture of Olaf Scholz, and then I'll write Olaf Scholz under it, so people know it's Olaf Scholz. And then somewhere on the third page or something, I will say written by Fabian Illfeld, in very small letters. And then I don't think that anything can go wrong with this plan. Yeah. So back to much more serious issues. We're going to return to the part in the interview where Gudmund talks about the problems. Here we go. Agency, right. Here we go. I hope you don't mind me scrolling through it rather quickly and just skimming. I know it might be a bit confusing and irritating to you, but if I scroll so slowly as to make sure that everyone watching can read it in real time, we will waste 20 minutes in this, and then the live stream will be done. So I'll just do this quickly to refresh my own memory, and then we'll go back to actual typing, I promise. And some of the less experienced viewers might think, why does he do that live? Why didn't he just read up on that before the live stream started? Well, let me ask you something. why don't you just do all your work before your actual work starts and then just do something nice during your work time? Huh? Think about that. That's it. That showed it. Got them real good. Human society, there they go again. Yeah, they talked about agency, obviously. Sometimes forget, important. That's the thing between them. Money, yeah, there's the money thing. Cow milk. I like that part. It's not even very original, but yeah, you know that you might. If I don't know if you know it, but there's a funny cartoon. I always think about that, and I love it. About the first person to use cow's milk, and it's basically just a picture of a kind of archetypical Stone Age human being, and there's a cow standing in front of some trees in the background, and then the four panels are just, I think, zooming in on the person looking more and more nervous and getting closer to the cow's udder in the other perspective, and the last picture is just an image of that Stone Age person with a drop of sweat on their uh, forehead and looking very very tense and nervous or something like that. You know? Okay, yeah, I think we. I like that too. Sorry. Um,
You can have a lot of fun.
I'll just read all of it again. Yeah, but to be fair to myself, the thing I might even I should probably credit the artist that cow milk thing was not that's not my joke, right? I was even talking about someone else's work and hyping that up. I think it's quite easy to Google. I'll let you know who it is. So I want to be fair because it's really funny and they deserve a call out. Shout out. Call out is a bad thing. Shout out is a good thing, right? Yeah. Cow milk cartoon first person, I think, something like that. And yeah, of course, there's also a Ryan George video about it, but that's not what I'm looking for in this case. I'm looking for this one. Yeah, here, right. I think is that the name of the artist, or is it not? Here, painttraincomic.com. Here we go. I'll I'll give you the image in the channel. It also has the URL. I'm not sure if they still exist. It's an old comic, obviously, but there it is. I was a bit wrong about the position of the cow, and I apologize. There you go. My memory plays tricks on you, right, Olaf? All right, let's go. Sam Mean, I think. Do you spell it like that? I think you do, right? Frightened, and they opened their arms and exclaimed, "Well, that's a nice coincidence. You are exactly the person we need to talk to next." They screwed up their eyes. You can say that, right? And scratched their chin. with 2 fingers. Aren't you? What exactly is that thing you are doing around here? What does mean? Asked Epiphany. All right, let's check. I think it's a bit of an archaic term, but maybe it's just a term I made up. So let's see. Ah, yeah, the word exists. That's good. I was looking for something like expression or countenance. And the word mean, it exists. And I'm going to use it, by God. And I even spelled it correctly. I wasn't sure if there's an additional E in the end there, but there's not. It's written exactly like this. Might be an American or British thing, I don't know, but the website I'm looking at right now doesn't specify. So I'll just go with it. Here, maybe you can even hear it? I didn't know it either, says Gekremel. Well, you are all here to learn, aren't you? This is stolen from German Mine, no? Or maybe it's the other way around. I have no idea. Quite possible. It would be weird if they weren't related, yeah. Mine is a pretty weird word in Germany, because slight spelling differences aside, we have one word for facial expression, mine, and well, the pen thing is also mine in English, right? Would you call that a mine?
Yeah.
I think the pen thing is also called mine in English.
And the mine is also called a mine.
Yeah, they are. Mine. Yeah, but and that's close to mean, but at least it's not the same thing, and it's pronounced very differently. Yeah. Is what I'm saying. It's a pen mine. Would you say that, or what is it called? I don't even know how to look for pen mine in English. Mine im Stift. No, you don't call it that in English. But what do you call it? Kugelschreibermine. Here we go. Pen ball refill, ball pen refill. You don't use the word mine for it. Oh, that's good to know. But the weird thing is now it seems there is no actual word for it. You just call it a refill. That's weird. You are strange people, you English-speaking folks, you know? Okay, but still that improves my own point. While I think it's an absolute L for the English language here, I think it's a W for my point, because in German those words are the same. We have one word, at least the sound of the word is identical, for mine, facial expression, and ballpoint pen refill. All the same word for Germans. How do you live with that? Weird people on the internet who are always making jokes about how German has a special word for everything, huh? Consider this. Weird people on the internet always making jokes about German has a specific word for everything destroyed by facts and logic. All right, now I need to, I'm in a weird position because I feel the need for Lara to respond to that. But I don't want her to repeat what I just told you. And I also think it might not be necessary. The strange situation we have here is, of course, but I don't think it's an actual problem, that we're writing a story that is playing in Germany and that is meant to be kind of a German story in a way, in English, because that's kind of how it happened. And now we have all these strange situations where concepts don't really work in a story that is written like it was natively in English, while it actually is not quite. But I think we can get around that quite easily. How about the thing in a pencil? What do you call that? Do we even call that Mine in German? Bleistiftmine? Yeah, we do say that.
And there's also
pencil lead. This is just called lead and pencil lead.
Yeah, not,
That's even wronger than in German.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It's and in a way, I think it's better than just calling it a refill, because what is that even? But in a way, it's also worse, because refill is at least factually not incorrect. Well, lead is just. I'm sorry. There's no way around this. You're wrong.
No, it's just historically.
You are just completely wrong. Another L for the English language. Why do people still use this outdated bad language? Can't wrap my head around it. When German is right there. Just one word for everything. Isn't that great? All right, sorry. I'm getting back to the story, promise. No, I don't know. Let's just go with her. Her face did kind of the opposite to Sam's. I was going to add some perspective, like Munira noticed, but now I'm reconsidering. I think we don't need that. And we called her exactly head of nursing before, right? Head of nursing. No, we did not. Okay, nursing head? No? What did we call her? Damn it. Jesus. Sorry. That could have gone much easier. Easier, sorry. Nursing service head. All right, let's go with that. we can mix it up a bit. Come on, let's be naughty. I'm head of nursing services. She, like that, right? She responded dryly. Yes, I know that. But what do you actually do? I might even give this a little italic emphasis. Maybe now is time for some Munira perspective. I'm gonna think about it. Munira felt the urge to step in and not let Sam provoke like that, right? Kashmir. We write it like that, right? Yeah. Kashmir. Correct. I'm going to check just to make sure. No, that's too far up. Sorry. Here we go. Yeah, it's correct. More than necessary, but she decided against it, not least because she didn't exactly know the exactly. I think that's the better word, but I'm gonna go with tradition here. Didn't exactly know the answer herself. Now, you might think this sentence is completely superfluous, and maybe you might be right, but I'm gonna leave it in for now. We can always delete it later. Who are you even? Right? And I'm afraid we need to go back for another time, right? Quick, because we need to check what Lara Kashmir already knows about them. Here, there we go. Sam greeted her. There's some kind of joke, not at all. Emphasize that your employee, it was all me. Who are you? What is going on here? Wait for your colleague. Here's a spelling mistake. Yeah, she was a bit inimical before. That's good. That's how I remembered it. Then there's that. I need to check when Kashmir leaves. I'm sorry, but we need to be lore accurate here about what she can ask and how she ended the last interaction with Sam so that it makes sense. Can't change it, sorry. I don't think Tomke will be helpful. Don't encourage them. Not just money, believe. Yeah, right. Then she leaves. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, yeah. So that's the last thing. So why hasn't Ruth thrown you? Does she call her Ruth? I think she does, right? Ah, sorry. I think she does. Yeah. I just read it. I just wanted to make sure again. So how far are we going to go? She might. My first instinct was to have her say, "I'm going to call Tomke now." But do we want that? Is that where we want to go with this? I mean, we might. Just she was rather impatient before. Yeah. She unclipped the what do we call this, portable phone? Because I'm not. I know. I'm not talking about a cellular phone, right? I'm not talking about a smartphone. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about those things all nurses have clipped to their belts. Those what do you even call festnets in English? They are regular phones. They are not cellular phones, right? They are DECT phones. They are connected to a landline, is what I'm saying. And there's just an individual radio network on the premises, that so that you have that little mobile receiver handheld thingy at your belt. What do you call that? There's not a good word in German for this either. I'll admit it right away. We call it, I think, mostly tragbares Telefon. That's I was going with portable phone. Mobiltelefon, but that's too much of a cellular thing already,
yeah,
right?
That's clearly a cellular.
Portable phone, DECT telephone, decked telephone. Yeah, we can use that, but do we want to? Do we have a better word for that? Or just portable? But portable DECT. I'm going to go with DECT. But then again, this is kind of from Munira's perspective. Would she know the word? Would she know the acronym DECT? Why would she? I mean, she's a 14-year-old child.
If you just say her phone.
Yeah, but that's I want to. It's
Yeah.
it's a clunky land. Maybe I'll just say clunky portable landline phone, or just portable landline phone.
That sounds like something Munira would think.
Well, I think it's
Yeah, it
closer.
does.
Yeah, yeah, right. It's closer than because I'm absolutely aware that there are probably even 6-year-old children who know a lot more about DECT technology than I do. But my guess would be that the average 14-year-old today would just not think a lot about DECT, right? Before abruptly lowering it again and staring at Sam like they had something very rude. What did you do? She asked. Do I want to use a more expressive word that illustrates her anger? I think I'm going to go with asked for now. Sam shrugged. Sorry. I felt like you were going to make this even more complicated. And I'm annoyed enough as it is. If you think you can then I'm absolutely correct. Sam interrupted her. Leave your Tomka out of this. We don't need. That's some sort of clown. In a way. Alright. Any more Tomkas than we already have? I'll call the police if you don't immediately leave this facility. Like this. Sam sighed. A really long, weary sigh. Then they took slightly shorter, but still noticeably weary breath. Does this get better if I specify that it's a breath in? No, right? I'm just slightly, I'm a bit dissatisfied with the contrast here, but I think I'll leave it like that. And suddenly they were standing in the clouds again. Some things, it appears, are actually difficult they said, again, I wish for a more expressive verb, but none come to mind. But some things do not have to be, unless we make them. They gestured at the strange. The table was made of stone, right? No. We just called it a long modern conference table. Oh, that's fine. We'll go with that then. Now I want a gesture. This is supposed to be a gesture of hospitality, an olive branch, if you will. So I want something to appear there that is pleasing to Lara Kaczmierz. Maybe her favorite kind of coffee, which would probably be from a very large isolated can with a lever on top that you press it out of, and a bit of dried powder milk or something. And I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit back in time. I think most nursing care facilities have these big coffee machines now. Those fully automatic ones that even grind your beans fresh. Still don't make good coffee. But then again, what is good coffee? What actually is good, but I don't think it would, even if there are people who feel that way about water, I don't think it would bring my point across. So I would, with regrets, exclude it from the list of possible things to appear on the table, even if I would advise all of you very much to drink some of this good stuff, because it is cheap. Now, my feeling is, and that might just be me, but coffee isn't quite. I mean, I know, yeah, especially nurses. I think they consume a lot of coffee, and it's important to them. But it's not. My tendency is maybe even some kind of tea. But then again, that has its own disadvantages, because we have established that Sam likes tea, and so it might appear more influenced by their own preferences. So maybe we'll stay with coffee. We can just make a very good coffee. Maybe that, but that unfortunately that is also a bit problematic. We might think about that until next time, because I just thought there is that cool looking I think it's Vietnamese coffee preparation, you know, with the is that just milk, or is that something special? I've only seen it once. I've never. Coffee with condensed milk, right? It's done with condensed milk. And in the restaurant where I watched it served, it was done with a little. There was a little bit of special ceremony around it, you know. There was that filter they put on the cup, and it looked a bit fancy, and they pulled a lever, and then it spilled out, and it was very nice. Maybe something like that, but it feels weird. To is it weird to bring in the Vietnamese thing? Because there are no Vietnamese present, but then again, it's just tasty, and is that a problem, or is it not? But I mean, if she just likes it, if she likes it like that, why not? We don't even have to specify. Or is it better if we do? I don't know. Maybe we try. We try. We can get a sensitivity reading before publishing it, and of course you can tell me if this is weird. But I think it might be okay if we don't make it weird. And a little plate? No, serving, what do you call it? Damn it, I don't know the word. Let me see. Jesus, it's not quite a tablet, is it? It's not serving tray. Yeah, little serving tray. Gonna make it silver. Why not? Silver serving tray appeared with a little glass cup, wearing a shiny metal filter thingy on top. In the glass cup, Munira could see an impressively strictly separated, maybe let's go like that, 2 impressively strictly separated layers. The upper one black and the lower white. All right, and that's it for today because the stream time is over. I'll just correct one typo right quick, and then we'll see when we meet again the next time. Thank you for participating. You have been a marvelous audience as always. I love you all, especially if you like and subscribe and comment and share my content. Epiphany asked Fabian, which English accent is closest to your accent? Well, I don't know. Would be the short, easiest answer. But I can. The thing is, in Germany we learn British Standard English. I think also called Oxford English. And then we speak it badly. And also, obviously, my English has not only been influenced by school, but also by all the videos in English I watched. So I would expect my accent to be a weird mixture of standard British English, American English, and all the different accents they have. I think that's all I can say about it. Sorry, I don't know. You tell me. Write it down in the comments below, please. No, seriously, you can just type it in Discord or send it to me via Messenger, whatever you prefer. Thanks for asking. Have a nice day. Enjoy your weekend. All the best and see you next time. Bye.